One of the greats of the sport, Craig Lowndes, 888. Can he score his 100th championship race win today? It would be a huge feat. What do you reckon at home? Send us a message. Let us know at V8 Supercars using the hashtag V8SC. Get involved in the conversation as the race unfolds. We'd love to know your thoughts. But now it's about the start. They're about to head off on the warm-up lap. We'll take you through the grid very shortly. That wind's picked up. You could hear it in one of Neil's crosses before. It's definitely gustier than it was this morning, significantly so. And that will have an effect on the car behaviour. You've heard Neil talk about that at turn 6, at turn 4. The way they arrest that speed. So here's the Fuso starting grid for race 6 of the championship. Craig Lowndes has clean swept the pole positions available this weekend. It was a great performance. Great stuff too for David Reynolds to join him on the front row. Whincup, Davison. Davison rebounding from all the drama yesterday to get on that second row. We've detailed it. Andre Heimgartner, a PB, a standout performance from the Kiwi to be on row 4. Jason Bright, difficult day on Saturday, a little stronger today, a bit more confidence. So too Scott McLaughlin. Dale Wood, Fabian Coulthard, both out of the Brad Jones Racing stable. These guys are under the Walkinshaw banner. Nick Percat, a brand new chassis. They've done some excellent work there at LD Motorsport to get that car here and ready for racing. The brothers back on that row, Rick and Todd Kelly. Scott Pye now in the 17. Marcus Ambrose, the hometown hero. This was a homecoming for him. He's here watching the action, but he stepped back from driving duties. And Tim Blanchard off grid 25. So they're getting some heat into those tyres, weaving down the back straight. What can David Reynolds do today? We talked about it at the pre-season test at Sydney Motorsport Park. He's under the microscope. He's under pressure for that drive, but he's risen to the occasion. Just missed out on a podium yesterday. Good job in qualifying today. And that's what we want to see from him. We know he's got the talent. Whincup, very strong there at this venue in the past. He's off that second row today. Always a great group of fans here. Let's soak up some of that energy now because Rihanna is amongst them.
I've come over to the turn 2 hill. This is probably the best spot to watch all the action here at this Simmons Plains racetrack. 84 laps, 200 kilometres. Can Craig Lowndes be the first man in V8 Supercars to clock 100 races? Today could go down in history.
It sure could. 100 wins, 100 race wins would be a mega achievement. He's a superstar of the sport and has got some real spring in his step, as Neil said. Great new partnership with Grant McPherson. He loves this place historically. So does his teammate. 90 race wins for Jamie Whincup in his career so far. 10% of those have come at this venue. He loves it. Here we go. Revs rise. Always a good time. And it's go. Looks like a good one from David Reynolds. Has he got the jump on Lowndes? He has. Reynolds will lead them in the Bodlow entry. Lowndes sticks it up the inside. They touch. Reynolds has gone around. Evasive action from the Erebus entry. No, that is not what Reynolds wanted.
And precisely what we talked about down there at turn 2 and how easy things can go wrong down there. So that reveals Lowndes in control with Reynolds in the paddock. More damage at the back of the pack as well. One of the Erebus entries.
That's Will.
That it is Will Davison. Second day in a row, dramas for him. And there's David Reynolds up and running once more. So it's Whincup tucked in behind Lowndes. Angry battle pack in the middle.
Dale Wood battling there with the super cheap auto entry of Tim Slade.
The issue here could also be whether or not that was just oil smoke, or is there oil that's been dropped on the road by Will Davison's car in the braking area and in the middle of turn 4. That is an awesome shot as they build pace up towards 245 kilometres an hour with a tailwind. Van Gisbergen and Mostert having a big argument here, and a problem also for David Wall. And there's Will Davison coasting in, engine off.
Can you believe this for Davison? Look at this Heimgartner on the 33. He's battling with his countryman McLaughlin and looks like he'll get the job done, but Scott comes back, under brakes at turn 6. Slade looking for an opportunity here. He sneaks up the inside.
You'll never go around the outside of anybody at turn 6 without ending up off the road, so there was really nothing that Andre could do there, because once he was exposed high into 6, Slade can always go underneath. Cars that have got that orange light illuminated are on their soft tyre. And there's the oil flag up there in turn 4 at the moment as a result of what we saw with Will Davison.
Van Gisbergen running the high line there out of turn 4. Back with Whincup in second. Red Bull Racing Australia 1-2 at the moment. Van Gisbergen third in the Darrell Lee entry. We dive into Erebus Motorsport, right of screen. That car's been pacey, but it's been a tough one for Will Davison. Percat on Holsworth, and the 222 is through at turn 6.
So that little confirmation at the bottom of your screen as well, that Race Control quite clearly will be having a look at what happened between Craig Lowndes and David Reynolds down at turn 2. Davison out of the car in the Erebus garage. So soft tyres, everybody in the top 10 positions at the moment. Lowndes has got a little cushion, nearly a second now. Oh, problem for Van Gisbergen there. Actually, I reckon he sat on the oil for a moment and just took him a little high for the turn-in point at 4. He recovered. Tim Slade on the outside of Heimgartner. But just as it was when Andre was trapped on the wrong side before, if he can stay where he is at the moment, he finds himself in the appropriate line to 6. And this time it'll be Tim Slade that's got to go the long way round. And Heimgartner prevails.
Look at Wood in the background too. He's got some speed in the 21. So he's sticking with them and currently in 10th position. He started 13th. So that's a good effort from Dale Wood early in this one. Good sectors popping up. Van Gisbergen sector 1, Mostert in sector 2. A replay of the start. You know that it's under investigation. You saw that a moment ago. Let's take a look at it here as they run into turn 2. Lowndes contact with Reynolds. Evasive action from the 9.
Black flag, pit lane drive-through penalty, car 888. Black flag, pit lane drive-through penalty, car 888. Driving infringement.
Yeah, he wasn't far enough up to keep the argument going, Craig Lowndes, and he's tagged David Reynolds towards that left rear corner, and you can see him shaking his head. He's filthy about it. He's responded immediately. The faster they react to it, the longer the opportunity to recover from it.
Timmy, it was so disappointing for Dave. I mean, looking at the replay there, he really didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame he got a good start. He got the jump on Craig. Yeah, he left Craig enough room, but obviously Craig's got a penalty now, but it doesn't really help Dave today. But look, I mean, it's a 200k race, a long way to go. We'll just adjust the strategy, and I think, you know, he'll still be there at the end. There's a long way to go. Look, he's already up to 19th now, so he's making good progress. Thanks, mate. No worries.
Dutton, Craig Lowndes just been given the pit lane drive-through penalty for that contact with Dave Reynolds. Just your response to that?
I mean, looking at the replay, it looks like the right call. Touch and go, you know, 20 centimetres in it, but, you know, there is a line. If he's on the wrong side, that's what you do.
Long way to go in this race.
Yeah, long race, and he's had excellent pace all day, so, you know, watch that space.
Thank you.
Cheers.
And now the big job for Mark Dutton to control Craig Lowndes' emotion through this process now, keeping him inflated. Let's have a look at a replay here. This is on board with Jamie Whincup. There's the 2 leaders. And David Reynolds copping the worst of it. So contact in that. Actually, this will be much more telling. In fact, you can see Craig's locked up at this point. So he's recognised that he's not far enough up. That's the thing that I talked about when I stood down there, that when you find yourself firing down the inside, you run out of space when the squeeze is on because the tyre bundle is down there, the brakes are cold, the tyres are cold, nothing works as you'd want it. And Heimgartner here into the side of Garth Tanner. That was just very awkward because there really wasn't enough space for anybody down there. So in all that flurry, Rusty, watching what happened to Will Davison, who had to tour the paddock, I suspect it's yanked an oil line of some description off that car after it's bounded over the curb. One of the things I noticed when I was down there on the inside of turn 2, and I can imagine it'd be exactly the same on the outside of turn 2, is just how dug out it is behind the curbs. So if the cars straddle those curbs, given that their ride heights are so low, very easy to start ripping things on the underbody.
Here's his right rear. I don't know why it happened.
Will Davison, your weekend, mate, has been an incredibly tough one. Another awesome qualifying for race 6, but you're sitting in here, it looks like the guys are changing a rack.
It's meant to be sensible up the front, isn't it? Crikey. But, yeah, obviously Reynolds went around, but then I was side by side with Van Gisbergen. Not sure if seeing the vision, but his right rear wheel, we go around here, Reynolds spins, and then his right rear wheel just smashes my left front there and breaks the steering rack and rips the steering wheel out of my hands. So it was, yeah, we're side by side. Next thing, as I said, he's caught right on the left front wheel and done a lot of damage. So, yeah, I think he was maybe avoiding Reynolds, and it's just, yeah.
Bad timing, wrong place, wrong time.
Well, I don't know, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, mate,
Thanks.
The positives from this weekend for that team, they've got speed, and hopefully it will translate to the next round in a month. The Perth Supersprint at Barbagallo. Back with this battle, Courtney. Look at him harassing in the 22. He's in 16th, ahead of him, Michael Caruso.
Not in a very strong position at the moment. Look at Reynolds on the march here as well. Consider that yesterday, James Courtney was on the podium on 2 occasions, and so as the track's evolved and they've continued to chase the setup, they've ended up a bit trapped here. We saw them fiddling with the back of the car this morning, trying to make it a happier vehicle, and Michael Caruso in now car number 23 Nissan Motorsport entry. Just really frustrated together with his engineer Steve Todkill. They just have not been able to get a handle on how to get this car working. So we're on lap 10. Looks like they stuck a fair bit of United E85 in that car then as well, so they started that with a reasonably low fuel load in the beginning.
David, well, you find yourself in the garage very early in this race. What's the story here?
Yeah, look, unfortunately didn't get to do a lap there. We had to come straight in, but it looks like we've had some type of engine failure. We don't know exactly what it's going to be yet, but I'm sure the boys will sort it out, and we'll head back to Perth. Hopefully I'll be a lot better off physically, and yeah, we'll get on top of the little drama that we had.
Unfortunately, there seems to be these engine gremlins that are creeping into your team at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, everyone has their run of things, don't they? You know, I don't think it's anything that anyone's done. I think it's just something we need to address and we'll look at, and you know, I'm sure they'll get on top of it like anything else.
Thanks for your time, David, and we wish you all the best in your recovery through that foot.
Thanks. Hello to Amy and the kids at home.
The irony in that is that this time last year they hit the ground running with the Volvo, and normally it's at the beginning of a program where you have troubles, but they're having it in year 2. That's now the 3rd time that we've seen some sort of engine-related issue for the Volvo. And David goes into hospital tomorrow for a skin graft as his teammate Scott McLaughlin just peeling off and in for service on lap 11. So that damage to his right foot and his big toe on his right foot was done in race 1 at Clipsal.
You're right to go. Just waiting on fuel. Fuel, there you go. Go, 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 go.
And one of their team members is actually back in hospital at Launceston, so their thoughts are with Jacob Rayner at the moment, a burst appendix. But he's okay, and we wish you well, mate. A speedy recovery, Snakey, as we see a move up the inside of the 23 there, back to Garth Tander in 3rd position, and Mostert looking speedy here in 4th.
Meantime, David Reynolds, by the way, he's up to 13th place. Not bad considering that he toured the paddock at turn 2 on lap 1. Craig Lowndes, after serving the drive-through penalty, is down in 21st place at the moment. He's 26 seconds off the lead of the race. So particularly if a safety car happens to intervene at some point in time, that'll compress them all up, and he'll be back in the game with a quick car.
Well, Caruso and McLaughlin both on a similar strategy there, guys, taking their soft tyres off after the amount of laps we've had and gone to the hard. So expect to see them regurgitate those soft tyres later on, sticking back on to run to the finish.
We ride on board the Pepsi Max entry here. A couple of standouts. Nick Percat in the 222 is up to 11th at the moment. He started from 17th. The 21, Dalewood, started 13th. He's up to 8th.
The reason why Nick's trundling along, well, lots of reasons why he's trundling along strongly at the moment. One of them is the soft tyre on the car. He's in behind Fabian Coulthard. Fabian looking pretty speedy there at the moment. He felt as though the braking stability had improved this morning. They'd worked pretty hard on it. When I went into the garage this morning to see whether or not they'd made some ground. How's Percat? Sprint car over the top of the rise at turn 1. Sliding it in there, backing it in on the rear brake. Coulthard felt that they'd been making some pretty good ground. This little margin's tightened up, hasn't it? So we'll keep a bit of an eye on this one. And they were changing rear dampers and springs in Fabian's car as well. Back to a known set. It wasn't a stab in the dark. Just chasing further improvements in the car. So he looks like he's got a bit of pace at the moment. Now Van Gisbergen looks pretty speedy here at the moment. He's now within striking distance. Officially it's 0.24 of a second. It's on the soft tyre. Top 8 are on the soft. The first of the hards, by the way, is Mark Winterbottom at the moment.
Okay, mate, box is flat.
Just want to watch the body language in Jamie Whincup's car here and see what it's doing, because it'll give me a bit of a telltale as to why Shane's able to do what he's doing now. So he's able to position his car a little better at the moment. They've got two very different lines up there, the southern end of the circuit at the hairpin.
Box is flat, mate. Box, not the box.
So Shane Van Gisbergen in this lap. Third gear through turn 6. You see Jamie had to have a little second stab at the brake there and into the lane. We'll watch this. They practiced this all weekend. There's the control line. Got to be at 40 Ks.
Okay, mate, we got you here. So start heading across into the box. Nice and easy. We're leaving it neutral for the boys. Sit. Beautiful, thank you. I'll get you to turn your CPS line off. Okay, we're all clear on this side. Why don't you be another 3 or so seconds? You should be good to go. You'll be clear once you drop, Shane. You're clear, you're clear, you're clear.
Hard tyre's gone on. That's the reason why that light switched off. That was all textbook. So he arrived at maximum attack, got it stopped, engaged the limiter, which is an electronic speed control, 40 kilometres an hour. He perfectly hit his stop mark, so nobody had to move tools and equipment. Grabbed the wheels and tyres, have gone on to the hard tyre. What's that sitting in the middle of the racetrack down there, between turns 1 and 2? Something weird down there. Yeah. And then he was able to just cleanly and neatly depart the pit lane. There was no fuss, no bother. That was an ideal stop there for Van Gisbergen.
Best lap of the race so far belongs to Lowndes. He's in 18th position in car 888, a 52.008. Let's take a look at the replay here.
So that's a good positive move there by Reynolds, who continues to march up. He's up into the top 10 now. Can you believe it? So he's just steaming back through the field. He'll have had a sense of humour bypass after what happened down at turn 2. Scott Pye, Dick Johnson Racing Team Penske.
Just holding for fuel. Still holding. Oh, you're clear, you're clear, you're clear.
So timed stop for them, dropping United E85 in at the rate of approximately 3.7 litres per second. Whincup the leader, 1.7 seconds over Tandenow. Because Van Gisbergen peeled off to go onto the hard tyre. Whincup still on the soft. The top 6 runners are on the soft tyre. The last of them is Dale Wood, who's just come into the pit lane as I speak. The highest placed car on hard tyres at the moment is Winterbottom, and he's 6th. They're playing a longer game. You'll see them step on to the soft tyre a little bit later, and that's Pye wriggling on the road trying to search for temperature and pressure quickly. This is Dale Wood. One of those guns sounded a bit tardy.
Still clear, mate. Right on the drop. Go, 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 go.
Concrete's way slipperier than the asphalt. That's why you could hear the wheel spin in the background. The risk there when it's wet is just how slippery it is, Murph.
You guys, just look at Craig Lowndes. Obviously, he's reasonably close until in a minute when Jamie Whincup's about to turn on pit lane, but reasonably close from going a lap down. So I'd say that these guys are going to have to wait a fair while. What do you reckon, Neil, on bringing Lowndes in, because they don't want to fall him back in the pack and then potentially have a safety car and get lost a lap down?
Will Davison just rejoining. Sorry, Murph, just to change the topic briefly, but they've fixed that steering rack problem that you spoke to him about. Lowndes has just done the fastest lap of the race, by the way. He's 14th at the moment, 52.0 for Craig Lowndes. Oh, there's a big squeeze going on here between Scott Pye And is it Chaz Mostert? No, it's Frosty. And Scotty just ends up high and wide. Frosty underneath him. I still haven't answered Greg's question and gone to that point at the moment. It's going to depend on their relative pace, isn't it? But they, to some extent, will have to keep a bit of an eye on Craig. This little battle rages. Frosty on the outside, which becomes the inside at 6. Oh, how's Scott Pye's car? Big wriggle through 5. He had to really grab hold of that. That's because of air disturbance, and Percat buys in. And he peels off for service, and here comes Whincup. So that actually resolves the question. It's taken me 2 minutes to get to the answer, Murph, but they sorted it out for us.
Nice one. From the car, that's good, yeah. You got 7 seconds left now. 4 clear, mate. 4 seconds. All clear, nothing around.
After what happened to Craig, it may have altered the way that they play the game with this race. Depending on how the tyres wear and trend for him was the point that I wanted to make. And Gisbergen. So Tander's the leader of the race. 4 people with soft tyres. Tander's just peeled off as I speak. Mostert's now the leader of the race. Heimgartner, his teammate, will go to position 2, then Tim Slade, then Mark Winterbottom, the first of those
Line yourself up on me.
with a hard tyre on the car. We were watching him a moment ago.
Yeah, mate. Stop the mark. Yep. Line going on now. Got an SDR car coming down pit lane. All clear. You're all clear still. All clear. There's the shot. You are right to go. Okay, you're in the other line. Get across, get across, get across, get across.
That was close. Very. Holden Racing Team running that special Anzac livery this weekend to commemorate the centenary of the Gallipoli landings.
How's Reynolds here? He's in 3rd. I mean, people are peeling off, obviously, and that's aiding the cause. He's looking up the inside here of Scott Pye, and he does that with relative ease, and Lowndes, believe it or not, is back up to 7th. So they're probably rejigging the strategy in both those camps as a result of what happened down there at turn 2 on lap 1.
Onus on the driver, rejoining to do it cleanly, and does so.
But when Frosty comes out on cold, hard tyres, he's got a real job on his hands here to keep anyone at bay. David Reynolds will be aware of it. Actually, Frosty will have gone onto the soft tyre, I reckon, because he actually was on the hard at the start. And he has got the orange light on in that car. So they'll come up to 10 pretty quick.
Just coming back to talking about Craig Lowndes, Grant McPherson and Mark Dutton having a real strong discussion about what they're going to do with their strategy. And they definitely have obviously had to change it because of what happened on the first lap and that penalty that Craig Lowndes has served with the drive-through. So they're still actively trying to work out exactly what their strategy is going to be here. I heard Mark Dutton just sort of say, well, should we run them as long as we can on the softs? And there was a bit of confusion about that. So keep an eye on what's going to happen here, because it is an ongoing thing with Craig Lowndes in the Triple Eight.
Yes, I think based on his lap speed at the moment, Murph, what Grant McPherson's doing, is looking pretty animated on screen there at the moment, is he's just going to run that tyre set out. That means there'll be no chance of saving them to the end. But I reckon there's quite a few others who are going to have a very good look at the tread depth on them now, various tyres that have come off, and they'll consider recycling them, as you suggested a little earlier.
Was there a slight touch there then as you ride in the 22 with James Courtney? Awesome work there, and finally gets it done on David Reynolds.
Well, guys, the decision's now been made. They've made a quick decision there to bring Craig Lowndes in now, a set of hard control Dunlop tyres, and sitting in the pit lane. So he's coming in. We'll see what sort of time he's sitting still here in pit lane, and it'll be interesting to see what happens next if they do regurgitate his soft tyres for later on or not. Here he is, arriving now into the pit bay. Fuel hose goes in very, very quickly. Hard tyres being bolted on.
Okay, mate, all your tyres
Now just waiting for the fuel.
Just waiting for the fuel.
Going for a windscreen tear off on the 888 as well, by the looks. No.
Nothing around. Clear to go. We drop. 3 seconds.
And here we go, Craig Lowndes in for a fairly long stop. So they put a lot of fuel in that car, which means there's going to be a short stop at the end. And I wouldn't be surprised, Cromley, I'd be interested in your comments, if they throw those soft tyres back on it.
Go and have a look at them if you can, Murph. See if you can see what the tread depth looks like and whether they're showing any signs of graining and stressing anywhere on the tread face. It's dropped back into 21st at the moment. So all the marbles thrown back in the bag and been shaken up here at the moment. And in the lucky dip, it's Chaz Mostert that is the leader. Battles everywhere. Lee Holdsworth with Fabian Coulthard this time. Holden on Holden. Lee on the outside. Blue car. Ford 1, 2, 3 at the moment, by the way. Mostert, Heimgartner and Reynolds. Pro Drive Racing Australia cars. And no surprise that Lee tucks in down there at turn 6. Gets that little job done. There's a point in these races for the drivers, particularly when there's a minimum of 2 stops, a couple of tyre variations involved. It does actually reach a point of confusion in the car, and then the only thing to do is race everybody you can see. Just press on as hard as you can.
Guys, I noticed when Nick Percat came in for his pit stop, he's continuing on with the trend here this weekend. His drive side window is missing. The air disturbance is just so great down that back straight that drivers are losing their windows so easily. And when James Moffat came in for his pit stop for these soft tyres, he's also got quite a bit of damage to the left front side of his car. The boys spent a bit of time fixing that with some race tape.
We've seen a few of those this weekend, and you're right, it's the velocity of the cars down that back straight, and it's the proximity to other cars. Lowndes just slicing through down the inside on Percat. So there's 6 people by our reckoning at the moment that have not stopped. Mostert, Heimgartner, Reynolds. I was about to say Coulthard, and he peels off as I speak. Rick Kelly, Ash Walsh. And I think that's it at this point. And here is Fabian Coulthard. Already had a race win in 2015 in Adelaide, off to a good start in the championship hunt.
The result, though, yesterday, Neil, of those races, it's dropped him to 7th in the standings, but there is a long way to go in this championship. Courtney pocketed some more silverware. Lowndes has stepped up the championship ladder as a result of yesterday.
Reset fuel, should be clear exit. You'll be ahead of Winterbottom.
So Tim Slade will sneak by Fabian here and look for Mark Winterbottom in the background in the Pepsi Max entry. Here he comes. So Fabian's got to press as hard as he dare, but he's on cold tyres. He can't afford to fall off the road. And he just wriggles round the outside on top of that white line. They've got to push hard, the boys, and it's still wriggling through turn 3 on cold tyres, getting up to speed. So the first driver in the queue who's taken a stop and gone from soft to hard tyre at the moment is Jamie Whincup. So he's effectively the corrected leader of the race at the moment. But the actual lap score leader of the race remains Chaz Mostert, then Andre Heimgartner, then David Reynolds. Change of strategy for him, no doubt.
That's counterintuitive. In your mind, you know you're on cold tyres and the way the car will undoubtedly behave, but you've got to press on. That's the nature of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, you cannot afford to give away a half second to this lot at the moment because there are so many people out there that'll jump you. Ash Walsh, Jamie Whincup is the replay down the inside. It's actually 4th position.
Waved. Back here with this battle, you're watching Jason Bright in the Team BOC entry. And in behind him, the 33 of Scott McLaughlin. McLaughlin sits 10th, Bright is 9th. Mostert, the race leader at the moment from Heimgartner. Then Reynolds. Reynolds driving his heart out at the moment in the 55. Back with Ash Walsh, the rookie in V8 supercar terms. He's competed here in a Formula Ford, but first time in a tin top like this. Kelly out in the 15.
Okay, left hand side all done there, guys. Just waiting on fuel.
Just like we talked about in the pre-race as well, Rusty, there's the nervous moment in this race because of the short lap length and the long transition through the pit lane. There's that moment where some people find themselves a lap down and they would just, their respective strategists and crew would be in the garages chewing their nails going, please no safety car, please no safety car, because you can find yourself trapped. Lowndes continues to march along. He's 18th at the moment, having a sniff down the inside of Tim Blanchard, which he'll get done pretty easily. And running with him is James Moffat, not Michael Crusoe. James Moffat gets it done on Scotty Pye. Mostert, Heimgartner and Reynolds, 1, 2 and 3, and now they blink at Super Black Racing, and Heimgartner's in from his lengthy stint on the soft tyre. So he's got a good chunk of time out of those, but that pretty much compels them to stay with hard tyres for the balance of the race, get it right. So other people, I'm pretty sure we're going to see a second bite of the cherry on their soft tyre a bit later in the day.
With the exception of that brake lock-up yesterday, this has been an unbelievably good weekend for Andre Heimgartner. He stepped up, delivered, great for Super Black Racing in their first full season in V8 Supercars.
Please, on the centre console, your lines off. I'll watch you out.
Ironically, Rusty, the area where he's shown great strength all weekend has been braking at turn 6 and turn 4, but it was turn 4 that burnt him yesterday by being a little adventurous when the tyre condition had gone away. In from the lead of the race, Chaz Mostert. Only guy that hasn't stopped so far is David Reynolds, and he'll assume the lead. And then the first of those in the queue that has stopped is Jamie Whincup. He's on the hard tyre at the moment. Remember, the world was revealed nicely to him when Lowndes was taken off the racetrack for a pit lane drive-through penalty. Not a huge amount of fuel drop there for Chaz Mostert, so they fueled him pretty long for the opening stint, and it's a bit shorter for this one. Where's he drop in? Gizzy's about to go through, so that'll drop him into 5th. No, 3rd. So David Reynolds now, we'll keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on the lap speed in particular. Here we go, he's in. I was going to say those soft tyres you would think by now are starting to fret a little. It's been a pretty good stint. Didn't hear too much emotion. In fact, I heard nothing on the radio, so he just quietly got on with it. Pulled up perfectly on the spot.
Let's see where he files out here. You've watched the others come through screen. So Whincup is now the race leader from Chaz Mostert and Shane van Gisbergen.
Be close to Fabian on pit exit. We've got Fabian on a hard. So you got Frosty on the soft. And you got Courtney on the soft.
Courtney's in 13th. This is close, or just gets in. Remember, he was effectively last after that contact with Will Davison, trying to defend, trying to get heat in the tyres. 22 gets it done. And good gain for Chaz Mostert. If you look at his starting position in this race, car 6, it started position 6. He's up to 2. He spent a long time at the head of this field, chipped away, kept chipping away. And now he's second, back with Reynolds. ProDrive Racing Australia team principal Tim Edwards said it, there's a long way to go. He was confident the pace he had from qualifying, despite the incident with Lowndes at the beginning of the race, that he'd recover. That's right here with Van Gisbergen for a full lap of Symmons Plains.
So just watching the relative progress at the moment of those on a soft tyre versus those on the hard. The majority of the field's gone onto the hard tyre in this phase of the race, led by Jamie Whincup, race leader. One stop out of the way for him. The best placed guy on the softer tyre at the moment is actually Fabian Coulthard. He's in 10th position, and he's just done, no surprise, his best lap of the race. This is Scotty McLaughlin. He's in 7th at the moment, in behind Jason Bright. So Brighty's rocking along okay at the moment.
I think those questions coming to at V8 Supercars. Use the hashtag V8SC.
Guys, Lee Holdsworth just entered the pit lane. They don't have any other tyres ready to put on. They are crossing the softs. They are crossing his softs. The fuel's going in. He didn't have too much more fuel to put in, and they're going to run the gauntlet, I think, on car 18.
For the fuel. Wait, so go.
That's interesting, isn't it? That's a big call.
That is a big call. I actually had a quick chat with Lee Holdsworth before the start of this race, and Lee Holdsworth was sort of inkling towards maybe rolling the dice on that, and that's what they've done.
So this is an adjustment to McLaughlin's car to try and improve its behaviour. They sacrifice a couple of seconds fiddling around at the rear, but remember it's the fuel that's the governing factor for the stationary time anyway.
Just love that shot as they file through there, and then they open them up. Stretch the legs all the way down to turn 6 through this fast right-hander. Despite some cloud cover in the distance there, the weather forecast at the beginning of the day suggested no rain for this race. Look at this here, the Walkinshaw entries.
Going to have to be very cautious in the way he uses those tyres, Lee Holdsworth. So effectively committed to a double stint on those soft tyres, but crossed. So these cars are all from the same stable. Got to make sure that they don't exchange any stickers. James Courtney actually ending up having to do a bit of braking in the dirt and dust down there. So the Super Cheap car, the Fuchs car, and the Mobile Holden Racing Team car, all Walkinshaw Racing entries. Meantime, just in front of them, Dale Woods in a big battle here with Mark Winterbottom. Woody's 8th. And look behind, you can look everywhere at this little group, and right in there as well as David Reynolds in recovery from what happened at turn 2.
Good for James. Made the most of the opportunity. There's Charlie Schwerkolt, team boss for the Fuchs entry of Lee Holdsworth. So double stacking here for Nissan, the 99 of James Moffat, the 23, waiting as well for Michael Caruso.
Hard to imagine how they choose for that to have occurred.
Tim Edwards, Chaz Mostert sitting in a really nice position. It's a long way to go in this race, but it looks like he's going to have a shorter stop than Jamie Whincup for the second stop in this race.
Yeah, no, he's doing okay, and his hard tyre pace is really good as well. In fact, he's only a little bit slower than Frost to use on soft tyres, although he is having to navigate a bit of traffic at the moment. So no, he's doing okay. He's pulling away from Gizzy, so he's doing everything we need him to.
So far, so good.
So far, but there's still a long way to go.
Thanks, Tim.
The coverage wherever you're watching right around the world. A message here from Superbike 14, Mad Max, he calls himself, watching in the UK, no doubt on Motors TV. We hope you're enjoying all of the action. Riding now with Chaz Mostert.
He's not far away from having to come in. He's maybe 3-4 laps from his next stop because of the amount of fuel they stuck in it at the last. Because I didn't note the timing at the time, but I can recall watching his stop, and they didn't appear to put a huge amount of fuel in for Chaz. There's Lowndes now for his second stop, so he's inside the window to fuel up and get home. What tyres have they got on it? Couldn't tell.
on the 111. So Heimgartner there. We go back to Craig Lowndes chasing Fabian Coulthard.
Scotty Sinclair, it was a pretty unfortunate circumstance there. James Moffat's got a fairly damaged tyre down there, and it's held up Mike Caruso.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't believe it, but you know, James was coming to the last corner and he felt the delamination there, as you can see, and Michael was already on an in-lap. So James has dived in, Michael's followed him in as instructed, and we've ended up with a double stack, which is probably the worst thing that could have happened there.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Yeah, as I said, can't imagine why you choose for that to be the case now. I've gone back and peeled back the onion layers to find out what the story is for Craig Lowndes rubber, and they have put him back on the soft tyre for this closing stint of the race. So see how that tracks out for him. He's currently in 19th place. We're riding with David Reynolds. Reynolds at the moment is 11th. He's on the hard tyre, Davey. Still got another stop to go. He's in behind Tim Slade. Dale Woods up in the foreground, and behind David are the Kelly brothers, Todd and Rick, 12th and 13th. So not sure whether that's Tim being gentlemanly saying, I'm going to peel off to the lane here. And the answer to that is yes. So he had the right-hand indicator on, and that gives a nice little bit of fresh air here for David Reynolds. So next in the queue for him is actually James Courtney.
Dale Wood, who was ahead of Slade also, as you can see, took the opportunity to pit here. This is a good outing for the 21. He's doing a very good job, Dale Wood. Oh. Eventually, they get that left rear off of Slade's.
See you on the drop, mate. See you on the drop. Maybe go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Just a steady here, mate. Sorry about that.
So longer fuel there for Dale Wood, who came in ahead of the 300, but Slade's managed to get out quicker.
Oh, that's going to be close between he and Fabian Coulthard, who's rolling along nicely at the moment on a soft tyre. So they've definitely made some gains with that car overnight. Freightliner entry, the red and black Holden Commodore on screen at the moment up here in turn 4. 2.27 seconds is the gap between Whincup and Mostert. Chaz must surely be about to roll in for another stop.
Heimgartner is in 5th. Whincup leading the race. This is James Courtney making the move on Dale Wood, who's just recently rejoined.
Remember that Courtney's on the soft tyre, and Woody's got cold tyres. That last lap there for James Courtney was a 53.2, but remember there's a bit of traffic involved in that, just polluting that number. So now he's got some clear air. We'll get a bit of an indication as to what that soft tyre pace looks like for James Courtney. Coulthard's the best placed guy on a softer tyre. Rick Kelly up the inside here of David Reynolds. That's for position.
Rick on the softs, David on the hards. There's a band of them there that you're about to talk about, I think. Coulthard, Winterbottom, Courtney in that group, all on softer rubber.
That was Will Davison just coasting there. Remember, they replaced the steering rack with the Erebus entry early in the race after having been an unwitting participant in what happened down at turn 2 at the start of the race, where he made contact with Shane van Gisbergen. We're riding here now with Whincup on pie.
I need some quality laps now, mate. I need quality laps, please, for about 3 laps.
So quali laps. So real hard, absolute 110% commitment laps, the requirement here for Jamie Whincup, who leads the race. Remember that because it's a 200k race, single race format today, that also means more points available. So it's 150 for a win. It's a valuable day if you can stitch it together. 75 points for each of yesterday's individual race wins. So they're keeping an eye on strategy. The reason for the push, we want quali laps from Jamie Whincup, is they're just trying to make sure they've got some cushion.
Tander in from 7th position.
Right, going on. To the tail on, fellas. Okay, get your wheels ready, fellas. Okay, GT. Clear the shops, you are right to go. There's no one in pit lane. Still clear. Still clear. Go, go, go. Come on. 38 laps to go. 38 laps to go.
So just further to that comment, and it's good news, he's got a little bit of fresh air to be able to affect this job here at the moment, but for Whincup, the reason for pressing on is the margin between he and Chaz Mostert. Ash Walsh, Garth Tander, feeler gauge in that little gap. Here's Van Gisbergen in from position 3 on the track. Whincup and Mostert in a really substantial battle here at the moment. It's only 0.3 of a second on corrected order between them,
So you should be pretty right.
with their different fuel strategies.
Standing by. Tyres are right this side. Hold for fuel. Another 3 or 4 seconds, boys. Should be clear to go when you drop, Shane. Clear to go. You're clear, you're clear, you're clear.
So even though on the racetrack at the moment it's a 1.9 second gap, let's call that 2 seconds, because of the different amounts of fuel that are going to be required, and Whincup's in. So there's 2 seconds difference in the fuel that they require, so this is going to be a real nail biter.
Yep, you're the only one left.
Need a really quick, clean stop here at Red Bull.
Courtney exiting there just a moment ago.
Give you 3. Front of the car looks good here.
So the soft tyre going on. Is that a white sidewall?
Looks like it.
What have we got there? Is it a white sidewall? Yes, it is.
8 seconds. Another car pit lane, but we should be about 4 easily. 3 seconds now, all clear.
So they're sticking back on the soft tyre. So he's got the grippy tyre. Hopefully he's looked after them in the early stint. Oh, so close. He's pushing for every millimetre. Jamie Whincup. He's got Tim Blanchard on his left. There's absolutely nothing in it in the strategy play between Whincup and Mostert. So when Mostert takes this stop, which isn't very far away, there'll be absolutely nothing in it. And Mostert at the moment is on the hard tyre. Whincup's gone back onto the soft. Turn 6, little pressure tap on the brake to make sure that it's up where he wants it for Chaz Mostert. Bathurst winner last year. Car behaviour is beautiful. Look at the way it turned in. And in he comes. They've reacted straight away. They can't afford to allow Whincup to undercut them. So he needs a perfect arrival. Managing his throttle percentage. Chance to have a think about it all. He needs to hit the markers perfectly.
First time, just a tear off, mate, first time.
And he's asking for a clear vision. Rip a tear off if you've got time. Looks like he stopped perfectly on the marks.
I want you to push, mate. Push. Car on exit. Push, push.
Looked like a quali in lap 2, the way he was attacking. Softs, is it? Looks like softs.
Yeah,
yes.
white walls. Yeah. So it's soft versus soft. Here's Whincup through the final corner. Mostert's departed cleanly. No bobble, no cough and splutter. Whincup's nipped him. It's very, very close. But he's grabbed him, and in fact, it's going to be Blanchard that splits them. So that's the battle for the lead of the race. So they got a little benefit there at Red Bull Racing Australia, and so a bit of clean air also for Jamie Whincup is going to serve him well, and Mostert will not want to be held up at all.
Garth Tander 6th on the road, but he's done 2 stops as well and was in the distance there in the background, so not bad from the HRT driver, going well. Garth Tander, Mostert makes the move on Blanchard, down at 6. He's got to get on with this. He's got to keep Jamie Whincup in his sights.
He only just got that stopped. Blanchard saw him late in the game. So they're 2nd and 3rd on the road at the moment, Whincup and Mostert. Winterbottom's actually ahead of them in terms of scoring. He's yet to take his 2nd stop. this little battle that we're describing between Whincup and Mostert is the battle in the race. They're both on the soft tyre.
Tander and Van Gisbergen file through. 4th and 5th on the road, but Neil's Detailed still waiting for Mark Winterbottom to complete his second stop. So these guys are effectively chasing, fighting for that final spot on the podium potentially, with 33 laps under that remaining in this one. Van Gisbergen torched a set of tyres. Was real mature. Look at this, down the inside. Will Van Gisbergen get it done? Pull it up in the 97. Good battle here with car 2 with Tander. He's on the inside, Van Gisbergen. The Kiwi is through.
And Winterbottom's come into the lane now as well. That's a nice move by Van Gisbergen. Pye's in as well. Incidentally, just studying tyre usage. And Jamie Whincup's soft tyres are 10 laps younger than Chaz Mostert's tyres. So 10 laps the difference in the age of the tyres between Whincup and Mostert.
Hearing from the lane, they might have crisscrossed the tyres on car 5 for Winterbottom as we replay that pass by Van Gisbergen. It was right at the maximum stretch, the threshold of the braking, wasn't it? But he got it turned, he got it in at 6. And up the inside of Tander, back with Mostert now. 1.8 seconds in arrears of Whincup. You can see him, there's Jamie, up over the ump, down to turn 2. Let's confirm this. We believe it's a crisscross.
Yeah. So the diagonal of the tyres. The inside front's largely on holiday round here. Sways to the crowd in a couple of spots, and the rest of the place it doesn't really take much load, so they've put it up on the right rear, which is where the work's done.
Watching the 17 of Nick Pye. Scott Pye, I should say, down in 21st position, ahead of James Moffat. Van Gisbergen here, getting on with it. Moffat's down in 22nd position, and there's Pye.
So all the key runners at the front of this field now have gone back on. Greg Murphy made the suggestion early in the day that they'll save the softs for a rainy day, and they did. So they've that's Shane Van Gisbergen just also asking for clear passage with Scott Pye in the foreground. The reason he's done that is because they're next door, they're neighbours. So DJR Team Penske and Techno Autosports are just split by a petition down the middle. So I'm sure in the nicest possible way, he said, tell Pye to get out of the way. So that little message will be being communicated as we speak. He's got the lights on and he's in full quali mode. I saw the way he stopped it down here at turn 6 before Van Gisbergen. It wriggled in on the rear brake. This is Todd Kelly, 15th at the moment, with his brother in behind. Then Dale Wood, followed then by Lee Holdsworth. Remember, they crossed the soft tyres on his car as well and dosed it up with fuel to get it to the end.
Looked good early once they'd done that, but you were concerned about what it might be like long term for Holdsworth on board the Jack Daniels Nissan Altima.
He was asking for a long run from that tyre set. Meantime, a couple of other people that were notable in this race based on what happened at the start. Lowndes is 11th now that the field's all sorted. And David Reynolds, who was the unfortunate recipient of the tap down at turn 2 on lap 1, he's in 14th. James Courtney hasn't fired to his satisfaction today, I'm sure. So he's 13th at the moment. Pretty much everybody is on a soft tyre other than James Moffat down in 22nd place at the moment. So that wouldn't go down well at the family Christmas party if Rick had gone on with that. Might have been waving chicken drumsticks at each other at 10 paces. So Lowndes actually just struggling there. Fabian Coulthard getting by. So that was a good move by Fabian, who actually looks a lot stronger today than he did yesterday. These two are exchanging places. I just want to keep an eye on the relative pace of everybody out there at the front as well at the moment to see what the trends are. So, all right, so this is Lowndes shallow down the inside in the dirty part of the road here, and and then runs wide. He can barely pull it up because you can see he's on that grey stuff on the inside, so then it runs wide on the exit. So under over, and that's the reason why Fabian just immediately takes the spot back again. That was big, brave braking manoeuvre by Craig. That'll make very large brake temps in that car. He's going to try it again. And this time, Fabian sort of fed a little bit of left lock, but just to hold him out there. But Craig's having another go. He's trying to stick with it. This could get sticky. Had to go part throttle. Fabian's... There wasn't a car width there. And I'm sure that Fabian will light up on the radio. There we go.
Copy that, mate. We saw it. That's fine. The lane's going a little bit slower anyway, so let's just get back in the group. Get some clear air.
I knew as soon as he could, he'd have his thumb on that right button on the steering wheel to go. That wasn't a car width. So let's have a look at it again in replay. So there was a bit of part throttle here. We were riding with Lowndes at the time. And then he's got a bit of a slide on Craig. And but he was also just giving him a little escort out there to make sure that life wasn't too easy.
Isn't that a line out of the Flying High movie? Over, under, done. Lowndes gets on with it.
Tell you what, though, it was a big correction by Fabian. He had to come right out of the throttle then and have a fair grab of the steering wheel to get it all back on track. That's the reason why there was a delay in the radio message. So he's ended up 2 on the grass there with a rooster tail. Ash Walsh.
All clear, all clear. Show him out, show him out, show him out.
So 26 laps less than remaining in this one. Jamie Whincup leading from Chaz Mostert. Shane Van Gisbergen is third. Garth Tander fourth in car 2, and Mark Winterbottom rounds out the 5. Despite the difficulties yesterday at GRM Team Volvo, Scott McLaughlin is 6th in the 33 ahead of his countryman Andre Heimgartner.
Grant McPherson, Craig Lowndes, engineer. How are you going to manage Craig? He's managed to get up into the 10th position at the moment for the rest of this race.
We're just on maximum attack. We've got a fast car. Let's just move as far forward as we can. 5th place is only 7 seconds up the road. We've got good speed. That's the best strategy to ever have. So he's just driving the wheels off it at the moment. Only Jamie quicker than him that lap. Things are going well.
What was his response to you when you gave him the message that he had that drive-through at the start of the race?
He didn't say anything. He copped it on the chin, and disappointing, but we'll press on.
Thanks, Shippy. Good luck.
Thank you.
So he's 9th at the moment, Craig Lowndes on screen, 25 seconds off the lead of the race, and he's separating the 2 Brad Jones Racing entries of Jason Bright 8th and Fabian Coulthard in 10th. After that willing exchange, a bit ruthless at the exit of turn 7 before we go back now to the race leader. This is Jamie Whincup on the exit of turn 4. He's got the mark.
1.9 the car behind. Look after these tyres. Doing a great job.
Dave Couchy on the radio team. He's got the margin up to just under 2 seconds, 1.9 seconds exactly. And he's 10 laps younger in the age of those tyres over Chaz Mostert, but Mostert's still holding pretty good pace in relative terms.
Yeah, I'm just standing looking over the shoulder of Jeff Slater, Shane Van Gisbergen's engineer. He just had a bad lap there, getting past some traffic and lost some time to Chaz Mostert. But the top 3 have been circulating around within a couple of tenths of each other. No one really making any inroads. And at the moment, Jamie Whincup, well, he's just pulled out another pretty decent lap just to extend that lead over Chaz Mostert. So he's looking pretty comfortable at the moment with only a handful of laps remaining.
Yeah, just on that point, Greg, up that last lap, Van Gisbergen was the 17th fastest driver in the field at 25, so that's how much traffic affected him. You might be interested to know, folks, that the fastest out there, and it's confirmed by what Grant McPherson said to Rihanna just a moment ago, Lowndes is actually the fastest driver on the track last lap. The 2nd fastest is Whincup. The 3rd fastest, the lap before the one we're looking at right now, was in fact Chaz Mostert. So Mostert and Whincup continue to be the class of the field. And Van Gisbergen, we'll see what happens now that he's got a little bit of clear air and how his pace corrects. Tander up the inside of Ash Walsh, pretty easy one for him. So remember, he's 4th at the moment. He's in front of Mark Winterbottom.
Wish it too soon, but no safety cars. We've had a good run so far here, haven't we?
Guarantee once you say it, one appears.
of Lowndes, chasing Jason Bright. Bright in 8th position. David Reynolds is currently in 13th, if you're wondering how he's progressing.
As I was about to make mention of it, I just saw it on the computer timing that Lowndes is all over the back of Bright. You can now clearly see it at home. And he's got masses of pace at the moment, fastest on the racetrack, and Jason can sense that, doesn't even bother to fight, hoist the white flag pretty easily, and off Craig goes. So that's another spot for him. That's now position 8 for Lowndes. Next for him, if he can get there, is Heimgartner, and that's 3 odd seconds, that gap.
No problem there, mate. No problem. We are strong relative to some of the cars in front and strong for the cars behind us now. So keep doing what you're doing. There's a few more cars that will come to us.
Paul Scalzo talking to Jason Bright. Here we are with Lowndes, turn 6. Really easy. Jason spotted him in the mirror all the way through turn 5, and he left plenty of space there for Craig, who's very racy at the moment. On the last lap, in fact, Whincup's picked up his pace again. He was the fastest on the racetrack. And there's just a little bit of pace, it seems to be disappearing out of car number 6 at the moment.
Riding with Chaz. Car 6, 2nd position.
A bit of a focus on speeds here. So just as Chaz grabs 6th gear through turn 5, depending on the wind, he'll get to a good 260 plus. Then it's back to 3rd gear for the left-hander at turn 6. The slowest speed here is 105. Picks the throttle up, short shifts to 4th. Slower speed in the mid-corner here is 165 k's. He gets back to 210 k's, 5th gear, over the hump at turn 1. Gets it back, feeds 2nd gear into it. 90 k's at that apex where I was standing pre-race. 3rd gear, short shift, trying not to slide the back of the car. 4th gear through the right-hander at 3. 165 k's, building again to 245 k's. A 95 kilo leg press, 1300 psi line pressure in the brakes, 850 degrees front brake temperature to the slowest corner on the track at 50 kilometres an hour. 1st gear, then fires it out the other side. Even as he makes the gear shift from 1st to 2nd, Rusty, he breaks the legal speed limit in Australia because it's 103 kilometres an hour as you move from 1st to 2nd gear in the car. The boys are busy on a lap around this racetrack. It's a really cool little racetrack to run one of these cars on. All flat shifting, and so he's just got his right foot jammed on the throttle there, as you can see. Uses the clutch for the downshift because there's no time going there, but you watch on the upshift, not using his left foot at all. So it's easy planted flat through the right-hander at 3. You have a little safety tap of the brake, most likely, with his left foot, which he just did. And then you can see that it's very big brake pressure to begin with, and then reduce as you get a bit closer to the corner. He carried the brake a long way round the corner. And still pressing on aggressively there at the moment. He's 2.6 seconds adrift. He is losing a little bit of time to Whincup, but not much when you consider the difference in the age of the tyres. He's fairly having to use the engine at the moment to pull it up at turn 6 as well, just to give the brakes a bit of a hand, because they'll be really hot and stinky at this point in the race. But just have a think about the gearing speed here, and I'll just run through some of this for you as they come off turn 2. So out of 2nd to 3rd gear, 134 k's. 3rd to 4th, 166 k's. 4th to 5th, 197. 5th to 6th, 234 k's. They hooked, don't they?
Hey, Crompo, I'm just down the signalling wall. I know you were here during practice on Friday. We're talking about how cool this little track is. Only 2.4 k's, not a lot to it, but some of the coolest corners we see anywhere in Australia. And this one here, braking so hard down into turn 6, and then everyone, you can just listen to them cracking the throttle open, trying to get it open as early as they can through this very fast, accelerating through turn 7. You can just hear the horsepower and those tyres just screaming, looking for grip. Everyone a bit wide, and Nick Percat quite wide on that one. As Chaz Mostert comes through, still chasing Jamie Whincup. That gap still looks pretty similar. He's doing his absolute best. Here's a bit of a train coming. Shane van Gisbergen, just the crack open of the throttle. Slightly different lines between some of these guys. Gartana pushing hard, got the lights on. But, mate, this is an awesome corner just to watch it. As you know, it's awesome to drive as well.
Hey, while you're down there, keep an eye out on Van Gisbergen at the moment, Murph, because we reckon he's starting to struggle a little bit on these tyres, and your old teammate Garth Tander is starting to reel him in. So give us a bit of an update on the language of car 97 if you see it at some point in the way in which it's behaving.
Well, it's probably not too far away from turning up here again, and here's a bit of a battle pack further back. A couple of the Nissans.
But he's just up through turn 5 at the moment, about to grab 6
Jamie Whincup. Whincup's just got past Percat. There's Mostert. That gap's still looking very similar. Doesn't look like Whincup lost too much time getting past. Here comes Van Gisbergen now, just braking hard into 6, listening for the crack of the throttle. He looks pretty settled through here. Not too much to report. He managed to get to his apex point. Throttle was wide open. Obviously, when he got to me, they're hooking 5th gear so earlier than I ever remember hooking 5th gear. But just a great part of the circuit and a real challenge. You see the guys getting right out to the edge. Tim Slade there just running just over the side of the edge of the circuit, using every single bit of track.
52.8 that last lap for Van Gisbergen, 52.9 for Garth Tander there, Murph. And it's interesting because maybe just had a couple of bad laps with traffic. A lot of build-up either side of the race line at the moment as well. Right where Greg was standing down there, they're pulling about 1.5 Gs in the middle of that corner. The slowest point, as I said before, is 165 Ks, but they build back up to 210 Ks there as they grab 5th gear just beyond where Murph was standing. And it's a great spot to watch the way the cars work and the car balance of them and whether or not they're working in the long haul. A lot of drivers in the early part of the weekend in the dry session on Friday afternoon worked really hard to stabilise the back of the car through there.
Last time around, Mostert was able to find a couple of 10s. The gap was almost down to 3 seconds between Whincup and Mostert. It's come back to 2.6. And something to file away just as you watch the performance of Shane Van Gisbergen. He's not had a podium in Tassie since moving to Techno Autosports. He's staring down the barrel of one at the moment, despite the ever-improving Garth Tander. Can Van Gisbergen hold on for that 3rd place in this race?
And as we discussed pre-race, because of the nature of this racetrack and the length of the pit lane, it's very easy to go a lap down here. So there's a number of people that are getting cleaned up by the race leader at the moment. I think the next in the queue to go a lap down is actually Lee Holdsworth. So he's in the crosshairs of Jamie Whincup at the moment.
Adrian Burgess, Garth Tander just closing that gap between himself and Shane Van Gisbergen. Is there enough laps for him to get on the podium today?
Oh, I'm not sure. I mean, traffic's playing a bit of a part today, but I mean, they've both been looking after their tyres. Everyone's been doing fairly long stints on them. We have been looking after them. Hopefully we've got enough left, but I can't tell you. I don't know. I'm eager to see it, as you are.
Thanks, Adrian. Good luck.
Right.
Only 1.4 seconds between them at the moment. There's Tander on screen. And in front of Scott Pye is Shane Van Gisbergen. And the sector splits are very similar between them, and it is very much a case of how the traffic plays for them.
Marcus Ambrose staying at the front of the DGR Team Penske garage, just watching Scotty Pye go around. How's he feeling with the car, with the soft tyre?
Yeah, he's looking a lot more competitive on the soft tyre. It's really the first time we've run this car on the soft tyre, but it's been a tough weekend for us, no doubt. And, you know, we're going to really have to assess ourselves here in this 4-week break we've got coming up and make some good choices. He just let the HRT car go there because he's lapped down. So we're just trying to make it to the end here, and we'll assess our weekend on Monday and we'll go from there.
Yeah, it looked like he was having a pretty good pace there comparison to Van Gisbergen and Tander. How's it for you, mate, standing here, not being in the car and watching on? It's long days.
Yeah, you know, it's actually been great for me to watch from the sidelines and just see how the weekend unfolded. You know, I was lost with the car, and clearly, you know, we've got some work to do on our race team, and yeah, I feel good about putting Scott in there, getting some experience feedback, coming back from this weekend, and we'll assess it all and make some good choices coming up.
We'll see you over in Perth.
Yeah, you got it.
Good on you.
And earlier in the weekend, he spoke to us about the shock decision to step down from driving for now as a minimum. He'll be back in that 17 for the Enduros, and you can see that interview online at v8supercars.com.au as we take a look at some super slow-mo action of the 17.
Apart from the battle between Van Gisbergen and Tander that's fascinating, 3rd and 4th, there's another interesting one that's starting to unfold also because Lowndes is reeling in McLaughlin. Lowndes is 7th at the moment and just stomping through the field. Here we are looking on board as he cleans up Andre Heimgartner. So that was 4 positions. So Craig 7th. Andre's now gone to 8th, which is an outstanding performance from him. So I spoke to him pre-race, obviously, and talked to him about the little mistake yesterday and what he'd learnt from it. So he has, and he's putting it to very good effect today. The little problem here for Jason Bright down at turn 2 with a big brake lock-up over the top of the hump at 1. Couldn't get it stopped at 2. And he, as a result of this, Fabian just goes around the outside. Ooh, gee, that was close to... That would have wiped the smile off Brad Jones' face if there'd been contact between those two. So fastest lap of the race for Craig Lowndes. This is his teammate Jamie Whincup. He's got 3.2 seconds over Mostert at the moment. Van Gisbergen and Tander, that's unresolved. And Lowndes and McLaughlin, that's unresolved. Lowndes on current numbers may get to Scotty before the end of the race. Not much in it.
Lowndes charged back through the field last year as well. You remember he came from 25th to 5th in race 2 as you ride with him now. That was after he was excluded from qualifying. So again, he charges through the field, Craig Lowndes. And the next target is Scott McLaughlin, if he can get to him before this race is over. It's doable.
Lowndes, that lap was a 52.6, so he was 0.5 of a second quicker than Scott McLaughlin. And he is 1.2 seconds behind. So they're just feeding him that knowledge at the moment. That's the Volvo. In fact, he's fairly jammed in a bit of traffic there at the moment, and Scotty is actually in a battle with Winterbottom. So Lowndes actually a big chance. So the message going out there is Caruso and Blanchard are a lap down, so they're just trying to give him as much information as possible. But on what the evidence looks like here at the moment, lap speed-wise, and you can pretty much see it clearly at home now, Craig Lowndes is going to be well and truly in this battle with McLaughlin and Winterbottom before this race is done. Murph?
Yeah, just with Benny Klemenko down here at Erebus Motorsport, it has been one of a torrid weekend for you guys. Such hope with Will Davison. The pace that he has had this weekend in every session has been phenomenal, but unfortunately not much to show for it.
No, it just seems that we can't get a break. But in saying that, I don't dwell on self-pity, and I don't, you know, it just makes me angrier and stronger and want to do it more. And I don't have any self-doubts at all about what we're doing. I think what we're doing is great. We just didn't get the right breaks this weekend, and it'll just make Will a little hungrier to get up the top.
Well, there's no question about that. I mean, you can see, I've noticed the confidence in him this weekend just with the car. I mean, he's very happy with the way the progress is going, and confidence is a pretty important thing to have.
Oh, look, he's got a great machine underneath him, and he's got the talent to take it to the top. Unfortunately, this weekend, Lady Luck didn't smile down, but it's the beginning of the year. We have lots of racing to go, and he's got a lot of speed under him, so he'll be good.
Good on you.
Thank you.
Race Director Jim Schenken's just asked for blue flags to be shown to car 3, Tim Blanchard, as well. And he's involved in this cluster of cars here, so it's Craig Lowndes behind him. Look out.
Beautiful super slow-mo.
It's almost Red Nose Day for Ash Walsh.
Obviously come from the big crowd trackside here at Symmons Plains. Wowee. And the aero, the disturbed air, sends the balloon flying. Ash Walsh down in 22nd position.
Into this battle here. So Craig Lowndes has got past Tim Blanchard now. It'll be on between Lowndes and McLaughlin very shortly. Still 1.3 seconds is the gap between Tander and Van Gisbergen, so that's just remained stable. I thought that Van Gisbergen was struggling a little bit, but I think what that's turned out to be is a bit of traffic impact. It's an awesome shot. There's about 3/4 of a metre to a metre of additional apron that's concrete on the outside of turn 4. They launch off there in first gear. It's quite abrasive and quite grippy, so the car's just fairly fire off there, and it's all you can do to get them into second gear and manage the wheel spin. They punch up to 100 kilometres an hour very quickly before you even get to the end of the curb.
In terms of the lap time, status quo between Van Gisbergen and Tander in that battle for third 2. 1.3 between them, and the lap time's almost identical between them last time around.
Jason Bright's just slipping back a little here, so Reynolds just made a spot. David's in behind James Courtney now. So this is 11th and 12th, Courtney and Reynolds. Tim Slade is 10th. Here's Lowndes having a big crack at McLaughlin as they come off the hairpin at 4. So he's now within striking distance. He'll get the benefit of the toe. Scott will position the Volvo such that it's not easy. And breaks it very deep. Lowndes goes shallow. He's struggling to stop. He's right on that rear bumper through 6. Short shifting the Volvo 3rd to 4th. He'll have to really mind the gap when they get down to the hairpin at 4, McLaughlin, and he'll have to watch the way he comes off here. Try not to slide the car on the gear shift 2nd to 3rd. Lowndes has got more pace. He's got to try and find a way. He wants to go the long way. And he's done it. That's a remarkable performance. 6th place, Craig Lowndes, Red Bull Racing Australia, after a pit lane drive-through penalty.
Great work. P6. The gap in front is 2 seconds.
Winterbottom next. Here's the replay. So I'm surprised that he was able to get this done. Straight down the outside when he grabbed 5th gear, and then was able to clear him and then get back on the ideal race line. And here it is again.
A couple of eagle-eyed viewers making conversation. Hashtag V8 Supercars earlier in the weekend was saying about the braking performance of these Red Bull Racing Australia Commodores. Lowndes was able to make the jump just beyond the Dunlop Bridge there and got on with it on the outside, under brakes, and is up into 6th position and chasing Mark Winterbottom in 5th.
A little bit of Kiwi action here as well, because Coulthard's ranging up on the back of Heimgartner. Tim Blanchard just has to sidestep there momentarily.
That's something that's an 8th place finish for Super Black Racing. That is huge here at Symmons Plains. Big lock up in the background. The Erebus Motorsport Mercedes of Ash Walsh just could not stop it. Went close, but could not stop it at 6 and runs off the circuit, but back on with no dramas. Tim Slade in the 300 there in 10th position. Back to Courtney and David Reynolds in 12th.
3.2 seconds now, the gap. Whincup Mostert. Heimgartner grabbed that 11th spot in yesterday's race, so this will be his best if he can stay where he's at the moment in 8th position. So a nice bit of strategy for Red Bull Racing Australia. They were able to race Chaz Mostert with a younger soft tyre in the back end of the race. Shane Van Gisbergen looks like he's going to hold on here. He's still got a 1.3 second gap over Garth Panda. Lowndes is doing everything he can to catch Mark Winterbottom. It's 1.9 seconds. He hasn't really made sufficient ground in the last lap or two for that to change much. So he's probably used a fair bit of the tyre to get to where he is in the race now. It's still been a mighty performance in recovery.
We said it at the beginning of this race. When you take a look at the career victories he's had to date, 90 of them, 10% have happened here at Symmons Plains. Victory number 11 at this venue for Jamie Whincup.
Guys, great work. Oh yeah, never thought I'd have a win this weekend. I'd like to see how I would have liked to see to get the 3, but great team effort all around. Very, very happy.
Most race wins
Excellent
here.
drive, mate. Well done, well done. Great job. That was awesome. Yeah, not expecting that, but we'll take it. Well done.
91st of his career, and that moves him past Mark Skaife for 2nd on the all-time list as well. 8 behind teammate Craig Lowndes. It's his, who says it's unlucky? That's his 13th podium at this venue, more than anyone in the field. Look at this.
That's a absolutely distraught Tim Slade stepping out of his car. It's run out of fuel. He was in the top 10, and I think it's run out of fuel at the very end of the race. So that was Tim Slade marching off.
Here's the 300. They're trying to move it out the way, obviously, with the top 3 about to head into pit lane. Presentations to come as well. Awesome effort by Jamie Whincup and Red Bull Racing Australia across the weekend. All 3 pole positions went to his teammate Craig Lowndes. He looked a little flat yesterday. He still scored a podium in that second race, race 5 of the championship, but looked a little flat after race 1. This will be good. Nice way to finish the weekend. Van Gisbergen holds on for that first podium for him during his time with Techno Autosport at this venue, so good result. And Chaz Mostert, well played. Second place for the Pepsi Max crew. Pretty cool. You can see the smile beneath the helmet there. He's happy. Where are they?
Yep.
David Couchy, Mark Dutton. Well, a few things unfolded in front of him at the beginning of the race, but it was fluid, it was effortless from that moment. He took advantage of it. And the team did a superb job. Jamie Whincup, the champion, takes out a big haul of points on the Sunday here at Symmons Plains.
Congratulations, Jamie Whincup. You weren't so happy yesterday, but 91 career victories in V8 Supercars and 11 victories here at Symmons Plains.
Yeah, thank you. It's amazing how it turns around. Like, the weekend was dominated by Lowndes. I would have loved to have seen him get the three-peat, but he obviously had an altercation in turn 1. But, yeah, we were behind the 8 ball all weekend. Not a bad weekend. We were still there or thereabouts, but... yeah, I can't believe it. Standing on the top step of the podium, really, really happy.
An unbelievable weekend for Red Bull Racing Australia, complete clean sweep.
Yeah, we had an absolute thumper here last year, and we thought, oh, how the hell are we going to be able to repeat that? But we've managed to do so exactly the opposite. I was really quick on Saturday, and then Lowndes got Sunday, so cars are clearly quick again. So, yeah, it's really nice. Going into a big 5-week break now, it's nice to go away with a win.
Bit of icing on the cake as well. You're leading the championship.
Oh, is that right? Wow. Yeah, unbelievable. I don't know how things turn out. I thought I was just trying to hang in there today, but yeah, amazing. Really good.
Well done. Enjoy the champagne. And over to Chaz Mostert, second place on the podium today. Chaz, you opened your account at the Clipsal 500 in a pretty tough way. Nice way to get some points here at Tassie.
Yeah, fantastic. Started 6th and end up with 2nd. It's a real credit to the guys at PRA. They gave me an awesome strategy today, and the car looked over the sides real well. So it's been a really good weekend. We've got heaps of points this weekend. I finished all 3 races, so it's for us, it's been a tick in the box.
Nice one. Enjoy the podium.
Thanks very much.
And Shane Van Gisbergen, those boys are pretty quick at the front there, but a great way to be on the podium here at Symmons Plains.
Yeah, no, it was a really good finish. The team did a really good job with the strategy, but hard tyre killed us. Just we lost so much on the middle stint, and then at the end was just saving tyres in case there was a safety car. But yeah, middle stint we just lost so much. But yeah, good race.
Congratulations. Enjoy the champagne.
Thank you. I will.
Craig Lowndes, sorry, I'm just going to interrupt here. Just talking with Grant McPherson, mate. 95% perfect. And then 5% not. And I've got to be honest, I've never seen you look so gutted getting out of a race car as what you just did then.
Oh, look, we threw it away, Murph. I think that's, we got a bad start. The actual clutch went away from us, which wasn't obviously nice. But then we had a little bit of overlap. I was probably too aggressive into there. I turned it in, but it understeered wide and obviously tagged the I think it was the back door of Dave's car. So, look, I copped the penalty. It was deserving. So, we get on. The bonus of it, obviously, the good thing out of it all is we had a fast car, and that was the one thing that we take out of the weekend.
Mate, your car all weekend was phenomenal. I mean, Cromley and I have discussed many times on Friday about what you were doing. I was like, something's going on here with Craig Lowndes. I mean, he's been off the road. I was down at turn 4, and and you were waving to me and all sorts of stuff. But the car, it looked like it was a handful. But you guys were working away on a program that was pretty interesting to watch, and to come out and do what you did yesterday, qualify and pole today. Your car was amazing, and you proved that in that race to come back to where you did.
Yeah, I think the guys are saying I was about 20 23 seconds behind Jamie at the end, which the pit lane penalty was that. So, we should have been thereabouts. It's a shame. Like, I'm gutted because I know the car was fast. Grant and I have been working really hard over the weekend. You're right, you were down in turn 4. I'll give you a couple of waves. I'm just doing some pirouettes for you. I was doing plenty of them, but yeah, the car was great. Like, and you know what it's like when you get a good car and you don't deliver. It's a real big failure.
Well, mate, it was a pretty awesome weekend, albeit. So don't be too hard on yourself.
Oh, no, I'm not. You know me.
He's strong in WA as well. Maybe that 100th will happen next time out. We recap the race 6 results for you. 11th victory at Symmons Plains for Jamie Whincup, 91st of his career, 2nd podium of the season for Chaz Mostert, but his first at this venue, and the first for Van Gisbergen during his time with Techno Autosports at Symmons Plains. Great result. Unfortunate for David Reynolds, who was on the front row. We're hearing a fuel pressure problem for Tim Slade. Went from 10th to a DNF. Let's go to the podium.
It's time for the podium here at race 6 of the championship at the Tyre Power Tasmania SuperSprint. Your first place driver for Red Bull Racing Australia, Jamie Whincup. In second place, Chaz Mostert of the Pepsi Max crew. Third place today for Team Darrell Lee Sticks, Shane Van Gisbergen. And representing the winning team from Red Bull Racing Australia, David Cauchi. With a third place trophy, it's Neil Halden, the marketing chairman of Tyre Power. Today's second place trophy comes from the Honourable Paul Harris, Minister for Resources. The winning team trophy is represented from Frank Merger, Western Australia General Manager of Tyre Power. And with the first place trophy, Joe Laws, Chairman of our naming rights sponsor, Tyre Power. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2015 V8 Supercars Tyre Power Tasmania SuperSprint Race 6 winners.
Six straight wins for Red Bull Racing Australia at Symmons Plains. They clean swept 2014. They do it again in 2015. And you heard Rihanna talk about the impact on the championship standings there. As he gives the team a champagne shower. It's been a good day for the 6-time champion. Let's take a look at how it unfolded. And the talk is all about the start. David Reynolds was able to make a good jump in the Bottle-O entry, seemed to have the line, and then Lowndes made contact with him. Around went the 55. Evasive action from Will Davison, and the damage to that car put pay to Davison's weekend as well. Whincup was like the parting of the seas, wasn't it? Because eventually Lowndes would serve a penalty, a pit lane penalty for that contact. He took it on the chin, but as he just said to Greg Murphy, he gave it away.
The telling shot was the shot from the inside where you saw Craig locked up, pinched on the inside, couldn't get past that tyre bundle. Meantime, a drama for Will Davison because he had to fire off the road, take evasive action. There was contact with Shane Van Gisbergen. It's whacked into the front left-hand corner of his car, damaged the steering rack. They did get it back out there, and then the pit lane drive-through penalty as a result for his role in what happened down at turn 2. There is Will rejoining the race circuit. Of course, the lead was completely handed to Jamie Whincup through all this, and they played a very clever strategy game at Red Bull Racing Australia. Some tight in-outs, and that was Winterbottom and Tander crossing over. I felt for David Reynolds today with a very fast car. A little exchange here with James Courtney through turn 7. Lowndes in, off the soft, onto the hard. Then I ultimately put him back on the soft tyre for a blazing run at the end.
So much so that Lowndes would take the fastest lap of the race. As we said, it was really fluid from Whincup. Great work by the team. This was not ideal. Double stacking, it wasn't part of the plan.
No, as a result of damaging a tyre. Diagonal tyres for car number 15, Rick Kelly, Jack Daniels Racing. Lowndes was storming through the field. The move this time was on Fabian Coulthard. We kind of held our breath on this one, and Craig gave him 7/8 of a car width on the exit of turn 7 and just escorted Fabian onto the grass. He'll argue that Fabian needed to get out of it earlier, so they'll both have opposing views on that one.
Mega in super slow-mo, but Fabian was on the radio pretty quick about it, not too happy, so he got the job done, Lowndes, and he continued to march forward.
That move there surprised me because he was able to do it pretty easily. But a great performance from Whincup, who stitches in another 150 points to his championship campaign on a big day, big yield, and that response when he needed to put the pressure laps together, the quali laps, was exactly what he needed in the battle with Mostert, and hard luck out of fuel for Tim Slade.